And
rolling
we
in.
are live. What's poppin', gamers? Rolling in.
This is the third race today, and we aren't even done yet. We will have another one later as well, but for now we have Crypton versus ZeldaTima.
Yep, Crypton, a very seasoned runner of the game, versus ZeldaTima. It's looking, yeah, it's what you see. It's what you like to see. This is like this is still pretty early on in the tournament, so this is like, yeah.
We are in the last few races of round one, I believe. There isn't many round one races left, and this week we're gonna actually be starting the round two races later on this week. So
Yeah.
pretty sick. We're moving on to round two afterwards. I think we have in total like about, counting those two we have today, I think there's like 2 or 3 other races for round one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, just to clarify, that would be winners round one. The losers bracket races will be coming shortly, I assume.
So,
The losers round one. Yeah.
Tima?
Yeah. What's going on?
Oh, Crypton is actually. Oh goodness, that was a. Crypton actually did a pretty unusual backup in the main race to get that wrong word. That's unfortunately took damage with DD, but was able to actually recover the beetle and actually do the clash with Dixie and still be able to get the wrong word. That's interesting. I thought the IDs were completely gonna be off.
Is it just
interesting.
Crypton's timer flashing? Oh, what? Never seen this.
That's Black Split. Black.
Yeah.
It's just a different timer for. Was it X Split or something? Or it's just a different timer for Light Split? It's just a different timer effect. Just don't worry about it.
I see.
Crypton going for top sale, and this shit.
Oh.
Oh no.
That had to have been something wrong with the IDs. ZeldaTima taking the warp, as you might expect.
Just to clarify, Zelda is also local recording. They did mention previously about internet issues.
That's unfortunate.
But obviously wanted to hopefully try regardless.
I believe.
Me too.
Crypton on Crow, so biggest instance of RNG in the game. Let's see how many fakes Crypton gets. So 1 fake so far.
Imagine Crow being friendly.
So 2 fakes. That's
not bad. I'd say that's pretty average.
It is average because I think 2 is like there's theoretically infinitely many ways that fight could turn out, but 2 is usually like the 50-50 cutoff.
Yeah.
Oh, Crypton. Oh, interesting backup. Just wow, Crypton knows this game so well, dude.
Wow.
Like he knew how to back that up. He had that presence of mind to get that off screen, to get that clobber off screen, and so he can try again.
That's interesting. Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. So as you can see in World 1 and 2, there isn't much going on. There's some run wars to can do in the early game, but they don't save as much time compared to later long warps. So for the most part, they're just gonna take the developer intended warps.
Yeah, we
Also
don't see
in the World
gameplay
2.
really pick up until World 3.
There isn't much going on in World 2 until we reach the boss of World 2, Cleaver.
Good old Cleaver.
Yeah, this Cleaver has claimed a couple of lives during this round 1 of the tournament. So Cleaver is another instance of RNG in this game. It's really not that much. It just depends on where the cannonball spawns. Ideally, you want to have the cannonballs can either spawn near the ledge or far back. Ideally, you want it as close to the ledge as possible. And of course, there's a trick called the lava fly, which I'm not especially fond of. So you need to work on top of the mountain. You glide all the way across the lava. You need to make you buffer your jump on the ledge, and you'll be able to make it. And also, Crypton gets the proper bait. That's good, because if you lava fly saves 4 seconds, but if you fail it, you die. So it can be pretty frustrating. And you need to bait the Cleaver properly after you do lava fly, because there's a chance you can actually self-lock this boss fight. You need to make sure that Cleaver does its attacking animation up to a certain point, and then hit Cleaver. If you hit Cleaver too early, the hooks won't spawn, and you self-lock this boss fight. And you have to die. And also Crypton Flying Diddy for the fans.
Flying Diddy for the fans.
That's what you like to see.
And Ankos, I absolutely agree. Big shout out to Bean for all of the restreams. Also, and Ankos, have you found the answer you're looking for yet? I know you've been looking really hard to find how long Arctic Zip saves. I wish you the best of luck.
Also, ZeldaTima going for hot-head warpless, it seems like.
What? Do they know about the warp?
Not sure.
Oh.
I am not sure. Meanwhile, Crypton is on the Barrel Bayou, so the start of the World 3. There's no more developer intended warps, so
no G.
No G, sad. So
Hey, he's saving a frame. He's saving a frame.
Would you always go for swag, man? Come on.
Say no to swag.
You always go for the G. The run
G
doesn't count if you don't go for the G.
G loses a frame, Swag Balloon doesn't.
Yeah, but Swag Balloon, you have potential to lose more time than getting the G. Think about it.
Yeah, but Task gets Swag Balloon, so... Yeah,
That's Task, not RDA, friend. But Crypton is now on Glimmer's Galleon. So, they're all in that stage. It's pretty much the same every time. But every time you go around a corner, you have a slight chance to lose time. You can lose from tenths of seconds to full seconds just because of doing corners poorly, because you really don't want to bump into any wall, because this completely kills your momentum. Either your vertical momentum or your horizontal momentum. It's very subtle time loss, and it adds up a lot for the entirety of the stage.
It is probably the hardest stage in the game to do absolutely perfectly. Bonking when you're trying to go down is the worst of the bonks, because it takes longer to like go down.
Yeah, to regain your downward momentum. Now, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, first, this is the first wrong warp in the game that is post World 2 warps.
We see our friend Cutlass. He's gonna chuck us out the stage, because yeah.
Yeah, Crypton taking it safe. I don't mind. Yeah, Crypton taking it safe there. I don't blame it at all.
Neither.
So what happened with that wrong warp is that the cutlasses, they have some strange properties. So whenever the cutlasses, they are in their animation where they are pulling out their swords, they actually have the same properties as a failsafe. And so we actually intentionally throw Dixie and take damage at the same time, and we match getting shot out of the arrow barrel just beside the halfway while the cutlass is pulling out the swords, and it actually triggers a failsafe and kicks us out of the stage.
Oh, is that Nay? I need to give a shout out to Nay. Nay made these lovely stream layouts.
Base name
Nay underscore.
Mad Lad who made the layouts for this tourney. Big props because the layouts are cool. Really happy for that. Now Crypton is finishing.
Nice wiggle.
Nice.
Good stage from Crypton.
Nice, because Rattle Battle is pretty infamous for its horrible hitboxes. There's a lot of jank going on in that stage, and now Crypton is on the slime climb, so another wrong warp. So Crypton swap his kongs under the water, and that stores a super jump, and now is gonna get a beetle, clash a beetle, and get an invisible object, and is gonna drop down to the bonus, and to the left when just before entering the bonus, and once again that will trigger a failsafe, and we're gonna be able to get kicked out of the stage and be able to proceed. Gets it, no problem. This is a rather critical wrong warp to get it, because if you fail that wrong warp, it's you have no backup, and more often than not you restart at the halfway point, and there's no way you can retry that wrong warp again, and so you're pretty much forced in a no reset situation to finish the stage warpless. And unfortunately, this happened a few times from the start, since the start of this tournament, and there are people who did not know how to do the stage warpless. So I recommend people learning a little bit the slime climb warpless as a backup if this actually happens.
We have a Crypton coming up on what we hope is Vine Clip. Lovely.
Easy every time.
Yeah, that vine clip can be very consistent when you like get the hang of like everything that goes on in it, but like getting those things can be very hard too. But it's a consistent setup, and you like to see it.
But it's still a trick that is hard to be consistent at, to be honest. So people are gonna say, oh, Vine Clip is free. But no, it's in reality, it's not always a trick to be. It's rather a hard trick to be consistent at, because it's very easy to just you slightly misposition while doing the big board from the clamp on, and you completely fail the setup. But fortunately, you have a lot of backups you can do if you fail Vine Clip. Thankfully, and Vine Clip saves.
Otherwise, you end up taking the maze of shame.
Yeah, and yeah, if you go for Vine Clip, miss it, and do the D-boost strat, it loses 11 seconds. So if you don't go for Vine Clip at all and just rely on your and just rely on the D-boost, it's probably only a 5-6 second time loss. So that's a nice little thing.
Meanwhile, ZeldaTima is on Cleaver. Seems to be having a few issues, but should be fine. And Crypton is through Cudgel, so Cudgel, real quick, that boss is bowling. There's a small thing you can do called quick hits, where you're able, if you time Dixie's breath or oscillations, to be able to hit the boss as early as possible. But optimally, they only save 2 seconds, so it's not something I recommend learning first. And it's also, you can actually mistime your quick hit, you can actually lose an entire cycle, so it can be pretty frustrating, and it's really boring to learn.
Yeah, there have been some really close races. I think the closest one we've had was 11 seconds difference. That was between Brookmeal and Crosby. We had a close one yesterday between Terrace.
Oh, Crypton. Okay, never mind.
Oh,
Okay,
we
he got
good.
it.
Okay.
Nice. A zoomy zoom.
So
Yeah,
that's
it's always very scary when the screen goes by.
Yeah, so that's a trick called the scrolly scroll. So as you saw, Crypton, just put a wet onto the hook, you dismount squitter, and you jump off the hook, and then you remount squitter, and this actually forces the camera to move forward, and you're able to save about 5 to 6 seconds with this trick, and you cancel the effects by taking damage, and you're able to proceed as normal. But there's a downside to that trick, and I was scared for Crypton for a moment because I thought that setup was gonna fail, but if you don't get the setup properly, there's a chance you can actually you're forced into a wall, you're stuck in the wall, and you're unable to get out. You're essentially soft locked. I see that happen in a few races, and that's the worst thing that can happen. That's really an unfortunate thing if that happens in hard to hold.
I was scared for Crypton because I saw the screen go right after he dropped the spider. And if the way to get the soft lock, so that people know to avoid the soft lock, is to make sure to not go too low when you jump off the spider, because then you can grab the honey while in this full state, and that's the largest opportunity for you to get the soft lock. In fact, I got that myself in a practice run, and I brought it up with Gil. I timed reset in the game to the World 6 cutscene, and that's what got the completed file rule legal.
Say no to swag, by the way.
Say no to swag.
Yeah, use the free time to hydrate yourself instead of going for the swag balloon.
Alright, so Crypton is on Bramble Scramble, so another wrong warp here, so let's see what happens. This is a rather, there's a lot going on in that wrong warp, so this should be good for Crypton. Gets it, no problem. Very nice.
No corner.
The mad lad.
Okay, I have a question to you two. You know the game a lot better than I do. What is the corner with a K?
The corner is a there's a corner where you jump off to the other corner where you get the invest. That the corner is where you jump off, and
I see.
it's used to the corner is in that corner. If you go to the left, there's a spot where it's like the platform just stops you in place, and that's used to get a consistent position, so that you can jump, and release Y at a consistent time. But that loses a dock unit or two. So that's why we say, like, when they don't go for it, they're confident they know they can get the invest without having to rely on the corner.
I see. That's interesting. Also, I just noticed on Crypton Screenmaster was saying that number 2 guy made him quite close to the edge, but they still survived.
And I'd like to add one more thing about the corner, but it's just simply to maximize your window to be able to do the clash, to be able to get the invisible object from the clash, because when you do the clash, you have there's a small slope on the vine, and the corner you just basically try to maximize the amount of your frame window to do the clash. It's between.
I didn't know that.
But yeah, it's mainly to make also the clash more consistent clash timing as well. So because it's a 1 to 5 frame window to get the clash on the vine, depending on your position. So yeah, sometimes you want to have to maximize your window for it.
Oh,
Keep it coming up
ZeldaTima
on the-
dying in glimmers. You hate to see it.
That's unfortunate.
Crypton coming onto this wrong walk right here. With the beetles.
Oh, insta clash and beetle punch. That's amazing. Very nice.
Nice.
Just
Nice
a tiny
job.
optimization there.
Will he go for the what is it? He got it.
Mhm.
I forgot the name of it, but you can but if you climb up that honey fast enough, you can if you climb up the honey fast enough, you can team up and throw Dixie before the clamp-on gets to the left end of the platform. And that gives you a super jump save from which you can go to the hook.
I have some important information to add actually. Rambi is on the screen. He's cool.
Heck, Rambi.
I agree, Catherine. See, Catherine
Thank
is
you.
based.
No, heck,
It seems
Rambi.
like Mark is outvoted here. Rambi is a cutie. He deserves respect. He's just an
Definitely
innocent
does.
rhino.
No, heck, Rambi. This
Definitely
animal
more
body is
innocent
the-
than Winky.
Rambi is the source of much frustration and a lot of dead runs, so no pick Rambi.
He's also the source, so he also helps you get your PBs.
Maybe, but it's still the source of many resets, so heck Rambi.
You're outvoted here, I'm afraid. We have 2 Rambi lovers in the call.
Now Crypton is King's Sting, aka Never Sleep on the King. Pretty smooth fight so far, no issues.
Heck,
Very
Rambo.
Yeah, it's very easy to not hit. While this fight goes by the script and is very it goes by the script. You do it the same every time, but it's very easy to get a slight mispositioning and just ruin and that ruins the script because the B is always the king is always moving throughout the fight.
It's very easy on King's Instinct to you slightly mistime your shot and you're completely thrown off what you used to. You have to adapt to the king, the movement of the boss, and it can be hard to adjust sometimes.
I noticed that whenever people fight King's Instinct, they always position Squawks at the highest point of the platform. I'm assuming that's because the DK point has for less time to fall, right?
That's preference. That's preference.
Is it?
It actually does not make it. It doesn't make. So a lot of people think that going at the bottom is slower than waiting on the side. It is not. It was actually timed by Crypton that no matter where you are, waiting for the boss, waiting for the DK to fall, it's always the same amount of time.
Really?
It takes longer for the DK coin to fall, but it always takes the same amount of time for the jam to play and for the screen to fade. So,
I see.
So I like to wait at the bottom just to be different. But waiting at the bottom gives you an arbitrarily worse roll 4 time, but an arbitrarily better roll 5 time.
So TLDR, it doesn't matter whenever you position when the point drops. So that's what you're saying.
Yeah, well, Mark. Yeah, what I said with 100 words, Mark said with a few.
So it ends up just being the same, no matter. Okay. Meanwhile, Crypton is on 2-Pack's library, aka what they call. So this is
If
an
you're scared,
auto-scroller.
now's a really good time to get up and get a drink. Or a
Scary
snack.
content here. Sorry, Catherine.
No, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm just looking at Zelda's screen right now because it's late for me. You know, I don't want nightmares from this skeleton-looking guy over here.
I mean, that's literally Tupac. That's literally Tupac.
Don't you think he's a bit stylish though with those bandanas?
He's based.
Fair enough.
But in Haunted Hall, it's another auto-scroller, so there isn't much going on, but you're able to save a little bit of time by doing some precise jumps at precise locations during the level, and by doing the level optimally compared to just doing the level normally, you're able to save 2.5 seconds to 3 seconds. So it's an auto-scroller you don't want to sleep on.
Yeah, it's the most fun. It's the most fun autoscroller to do because one, you only have to hold one button. You only have to have one button, and it's the most interaction.
Thank you so much for the winky nay. It really helps out the stream.
All right, LZ swap. You'll love to see it. The LZ swap there is it's a sort of goal swap where instead of going, the safe strat is to go past the where the goal is, turn back, and then goal swap there. The LZ swap is launching from the barrel and positioning yourself in such a way that you land exactly right behind the platform. You can just right behind the goal and just immediately. But that's dangerous. Crypton is in PCP, and it's.
Okay.
Oh, this might be This might be scary.
It's fine.
That was a bit scary, but Crypton is now out of PCP. So normally in PCP you're supposed to take the purple parrot to slow down your descent, but the runners have the layout memorized, so they're just gonna fall down through the whole stage and argue with the best level to show off in any speedruns in DKC2, in my opinion.
Yeah. It turns a 3-minute level into a 50-second level, and then after that we have the Webwoods, which is where the spider shines.
And he's bringing some style. Look at those boots, those shoes.
Yeah,
Now this level is very infamous for causing infinites, and because every single time Crypton makes a platform, he has an opportunity to die. Whether it be because he tried making the platform too early, or he slid off. There's so many opportunities to die, and if you're frustrated or nervous, that can ruin your gameplay. But it seems like he doesn't have any problems. Yep.
You got both of those damage boosts pretty well, dude.
That was a very clean Webwoods, very nice.
It was.
It's very easy to just be on tilt in Webwoods. You just die once, and it's very easy to start an infinite and just be on tilt for the rest of the run, the rest of the race. You're in also on the run if you're in no research situations. It's sometimes very frustrating. Oh yeah, one more thing. Squatter is sponsored by Nike, by the way.
Yeah, you have a lot of things to keep in mind in the level, and if you get tilted, you're more than bound to forget them. Like how to play the stage good. And Crypton getting right spawn, you love to see it. The second phase of the fight for the spawn is most important because Crow is on the same side as you are. So you wait. So that's 2 trips that you'd have to make to and from back if you were to get the worst spawn, which is the last spawn.
But that was a clean World 5 for Crypton, and Crow 2 is another instance of RNG. So ideally, you want to have middle and right spawns. You don't want to have left spawn on the Crow.
Arctic Abyss.
Yeah,
Oh, Crypton. Wait, was that on purpose?
I'm not sure if that was an accident or not.
Well, it looks like
I don't think
looks
so.
like he's looks like he's just rolling with it. So we're not gonna see him do Arctic Zip.
Yeah,
We're just gonna see him.
Zelda gets out of Rattle Battle. Oh, not like this.
Not like this.
Yeah, we're gonna see Crypton play the stage how it's supposed to be played.
And God is
And,
cute. We won't hear otherwise.
Engard is cute, but unfortunately DKC2 Engard does not have the best properties. Some properties of Engard DKC2 are pretty jank. It's sometimes even while you're lunging you can still take damage, compared to a DKC3 where Engard is pretty freaking OP.
Look at his little things go.
Oh,
Yo,
wait, we're gonna
Crypton repping Diddy Windy. Let's see it.
Yes.
Unfortunately, a dead trick, but okay. I'll say it. Arctic Zip saves 15 seconds.
We see Zelda is going for Sunshine Walk, this it looks like.
Side skip.
Not sure how much Arctic Zip saves there, but when we find the answer, make sure to tell Anan because they've been looking for quite a while now.
The tasser who found the current setup said it saves 10 seconds, not 15, which is interesting. Yeah, that's gonna work. Ghetto bees.
Ghetto
yeah,
bees
if you jump into those bees, if you jump into those setup bees in a very specific way, like getting to as far left as you can without getting hit by the first bee, you're actually able to skip right over the second, or rather right under the second bee, and skip a cycle on that.
And one more thing, it's important, you do not want to take damage at the end of Windy Well because of this upcoming trick in Castle Crush. So Crypton is going for the Castle Crush wrong warp. So let's see what happens.
This level is way too long to do now.
Yeah, this requires a D-boost, so you have to do this with 2 Kongs, and it's a 10 frame window to get it, which he got it. So what he did by getting, by setting down the barrel is the crusher destroyed the barrel, so he got an Invis instead. And when he threw the Invis, the cutlass took the ID of the barrel, so he threw the cutlass instead of the barrel. And the cutlass, when you touch the cutlass, you get hit. So, but he threw it up. That's where you want to be. Because you want to use the janky properties of the cutlass to get a wrong warp out of it.
While Crypton is on the clappers, best trick in the game, just did throw your girlfriend to maximize the time available for the invincibility barrel, to be able to roll every single enemies at the end of the clappers, which was very good, very nice.
You see Zelda making their way through Barrel Blast. Oh?
That looks like he's going for the normal route.
Looks like maybe it's the backup, the alternative way that he's usually the backup for volume clip.
No, it looks like he's doing it casually.
This looks like the maze. Yeah.
Yeah, easy CLC wrong for Crypton.
Yeah.
There's a lot that can go wrong there that you probably can't make out if you don't run the, especially if you don't run the game. So it can be very easy to mess up that wrong warp. We are in Toxic Tower, personally my favorite level in the game,
Really,
and I'm sure a few people's as well.
Done properly.
I
find it extremely satisfying.
Yeah, the snake, that double jump tech you see, the snake, it's used like it's very hard, but very satisfying to do it because you do so many of those back to back to back to back to back. And it's really rewarding to get good at too, because every time you miss a jump, that's like you have to retry that jump. So, like to get it all in one shot puts you at a big advantage.
That was a very good snake section, but Crypton did not go for the siege passage, straight up taking a damage boost early on the B. So that's gonna be a little bit risky, but makes it through to Toxic. That was an incredibly good Toxic. That was insanely good.
Up in 3.
And up in 3, yes. That was an extremely good Toxic.
My knob is polished. That's the kind of Toxic that polishes your knob. And Crypton, assuming a good 7, I expect a 39 3x or 39 2x out of him. Assuming nothing goes wrong. Which I think is that on pace for the best time in the bracket? Actually, no way.
I think it was DNA had a 39.22.
Yeah, I was just about to say this would not be the first 39, but it is a very strong. But it's still a very strong showing for Crypton, since I know he's like hasn't really played the game all that much since Festival.
We've had a couple of 39s during the tournament.
Honestly, that saves like nothing in the grand scheme of things. A lot of things in a race setting, it's good to get good at them to make sure you don't mess it up, but if you're not comfortable with it, like usually the differences in race times, especially this early in the tournament, is going to be like what, like minutes or so, so like I don't blame him.
Damageless bearing skip, very nice. Very clean sprint. That's pretty much a 39 right there. That's pretty much a mid 39 right there. So
yeah, looking good.
Crypton has been a long time top tier run of DKC2, so
yeah, I expect a 39. I expect mid 39 2x with mid or high 2x with good throws.
I'm gonna say 39.28. My guess.
39.31.
39.27.
I have to go 1 second below me.
Crypton is cracked. Yeah, I mean, Crypton has been a long time top level runner in DKC2. When did Crypton start running the game? And also was actually held world record for a certain period of time. I don't remember, but
he had record in I think 2018. And Crypton, I don't know when exactly Crypton ran the game, but a commentator in the previous tournament, which was in 2016, said that he was quote unquote still rather new to the game. So yeah, 2016. So at mid or early 2016, he's been running the game since. He's definitely a long time no boy, a veteran.
the old guard, as some people like to say.
It's not gonna be a 1x.
Oh, okay, recovered just in time. That was a little bit scary. So this is what happens if you throw too early. Again, the cannonball just bounces off Hero's blunderbuss, and you lose a little bit of time, unfortunately.
Not going for blue, did he?
Actually, jumping over the blue smokes, insane. But those throws are just so good. That's wild.
I wonder if a lot of people know that the only smoke that you can get hit by that doesn't necessarily lose time is the purple smokes. Because if you run into the last purple smoke, which is this one, right as it's going on screen, you turn purple for the rest of the fight, and it doesn't lose time. That's probably a 39-30 or 31. I don't know how much I missed from list.
Crypton actually finishes with a 39-34. Nice run, Crypton.
Nice run.
Nice run. Let's go, gamer. That was a very clean run. I don't think this Crypton has made any major mistakes. That was just a very clean run through and through. And I think arguably one of the best. I think this is the best round 1 time we had.
Oh.
Yeah, very, that is, yeah, Crypton with a great start to tournaments. Definitely looking like top 8 material if he keeps playing like that. You love to see it. My boy Crypton.
Very well done, Crypton. That was a sick run. Meanwhile, ZeldaTima is on target terror. So target terror, there isn't much you can do in this stage to go faster. That's an auto scroller. The only thing you can do to go a bit faster is trying to jump off the cards as early as possible, and also you're able to skip a couple of flitters in this stage, but they don't save a lot of time. In total, if you skip all the flitters possible, you can only save about half a second, something like that.
I wonder if you could go for the smoke pool.
That'd be pretty funny. But say no to swag, by the way.
He has to. Actually, no. I don't want to fault somebody if they don't want to go for it. And he went for it and did not get the 4-frame window.
And as I said, the swag balloon actually, if you don't do it properly, you lose time. So you lose about 3 seconds if you fail the swag balloon. So.
So we can't listen for our childhoods here.
So just for you viewers that are watching right now, so unfortunately on the ZeldaTima, apparently they have some internet issues. So our apologies if it's looks choppy, but unfortunately it's internet issues on the runner's end, and there's nothing we can do about it. So our apologies for it.
I think it was made known that he might not have any audio.
That's true. That's another thing. I believe it's playing with no mic either. So yeah. But let's put some him fly in the chat to encourage ZeldaTima, please.
I gotta head out. I have some stuff I need to get done. So,
alright.
Thanks.
Alright, well, thank you for commentating, Chilex. I appreciate it. Have a good one, Navigate.
Hi!
Hey, what's up, Bean?
Oh, I'm just gonna sub in. Well, looks like I'm not balanced on mic though, hold on.
The man behind the restream, the absolute legend. What's up, Bean? You seem to have scared some people in the chat, Bean. Come on!
Sorry, that was probably super loud.
I think this should be fine. I don't have any issues on my end. It should be fine. I think.
I'm gonna keep Catherine up, just for posterity.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, sorry about that, gamers. I'll try to be quieter.
No worries, it happens, Bean.
But what if I want to, Catherine?
ZeldaTima is through a bramble scramble. I think that ZeldaTima is a new runner of the game, if I'm not wrong. So I believe they're not comfortable with a bunch of run warps yet. So I don't blame him. That's completely normal. Ben, it's one thing to mention that we have actually a bunch of new runners who just picked up the game for the tournament. So it's actually we have some people that are top runners all the way to people who actually recently picked up the game for the tournament. And I'm really happy to see how it turned out, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm slow too. I'm happy I showed up.
And like we also have for example, we had Cosmic of Super Mario Brothers Legend. The Super Mario Brothers Legend actually picked up, I believe, Cosmic picked up DKC2. I believe that's Void that said that Cosmic picked up DKC2 as a 12-hour challenge and actually participated as well in the tournament. And actually PB by around 5 minutes earlier on for this round 1. So that's pretty cool to see. And we also have some older runners that actually came back to participate as well in the tourney. So I'm really happy how this tournament is turning out.
Manel Fox, I think Catherine dipped because she has a headache. So, unfortunately, it's not an option.
As being said, that it will stay like that for posterity.
Don't worry about it, Derek. Appreciate the apology. Okay, sounds like something's going on Crypton's stream. Okay, I think I'll pick up some DKC2 OST for us all. Give me a sec.
It seems that something else, but yeah, that's not donkey related though. Also, it's one thing to know that also, from what I've seen, ZeldaTima is completely muted. It's completely muted, unfortunately. Yes, Wheeler, we have actually another race that's going to be at 9 p.m. It's going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern later on, so do not blink and miss this race. Himfly, by the way, in the chat.
Crypton immediately going into other games. What a gamer.
Oh, what a baller. Oh, goodness. Thank you, Bean, for putting a nice run.
It really helps the stream out, doesn't it?
True. A gamer moment. Meanwhile, ZeldaTima is on Whole Marsh. So what ZeldaTima is doing is actually doing the level warpless because as Crypton did earlier, there's a wrong warp in the stage, but this wrong warp is not is among one of the harder wrong warps to execute because if you saw on Crypton's screen earlier on, there's actually a good amount of things that can go wrong. When you first load the beetle on screen, this can actually make or break the IDs to make the wrong warp work. So you have to make sure you have the beetle enemies to load properly, to make sure to have the IDs properly, so you can actually trigger the failsafe to make the wrong warp work. And if you don't kill the beetle the proper order, also this messes up the IDs and the wrong warp will not work. So there's actually a good amount of ways you can actually fail that wrong warp, but there's also a safer setup you can do with Dixie, which is 3 seconds slower, but it's actually much easier. You have a bigger window to be able to do the beetle clash required to get the invisible object. And Dixie has, compared to Diddy, Dixie has has an 11 frame window to do the clash compared to DD, which is only a 6 frame window to be able to do a beetle clash and get invisible objects. So we've seen actually a couple of runners actually going for the Dixie backup instead. And oh, ZeldaTima actually dies just before the halfway point of Remy Rumble. That's unfortunate.
So, fun fact about that, what is that guy called? That enemy he died on?
The Cutlass.
The Cutlass, yeah. That one, actually, if you bait him off the platform and bring him to a lower platform with a couple of pixel/frame perfect jumps, you can get a wrong warp in Ramby Rumble. It's just TAS only at the moment.
I don't think I've seen the proper one warp done, unless I'm completely out of the loop on this one.
It's been done with save states too.
Oh, it's actually been done. The one warp has actually been done.
Sure
really?
has. It was done in, I think, I want to say January of this year.
I thought this was only tierized. I thought I only saw people just tierizing the wrong warp that actually you can bring down the Cutlass down to the lower platforms. But I didn't think so that there's actually it was actually possible to do it. I thought it was still tierized. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's definitely been done with save states. I've seen the video myself. I'll link it to you after we're done here.
Cool. I need to see that, of course. But yeah, that's still TAS only because it's very difficult to bring the Cutlasses down for platforms. Usually they just get stuck on. They just get stuck on the. You just get stuck on the. Usually the Cutlass they just get near the ledge and they just turn around. Was it only TAS? Because it's very hard and it's very hard just to bring the Cutlasses down the platforms. It's not. Very difficult to be able to do RTA. Unless there's a better setup to do it in RTA, maybe. But right now, because of the difficulty of the setup, it's just TAS only from what being said.
I think there's at least 3 frame/pixel perfect jumps, and then there's 2 shots out of a cannon that are horribly precise. You actually get the Cutlass while you're while it's falling, and you shoot it. You shoot Dixie or Diddy at it. I think it's Dixie while it's in midair from a barrel.
Oh goodness! Oh goodness! Yeah, but the setup right now is just only possible with TAS only. The thing with Gusty is that it's at least there's a setup that was found out that is actually viable, but the Gusty is still extremely hard. It's still such a convoluted setup that in the end Gusty wrong warp just barely saves 5 seconds and that's it. It just takes time. Maybe we'll see an RTA viable setup for Remy Rumble, but so far it's TAS only. So we'll see how it develops with time. Now ZeldaTima is on the King's Sting. This should be good. Very nice, gets through, no problem.
Moving right along, folks.
So 5-1 Ghostly Grove. So this is a really fun stage to do. This is arguably one of my favorite stages. To try to do IL practice on, and because the stage just flows so well, it's a straightforward stage, but it's a really good platforming stage. So a lot of rolls, a lot of jumps. A really fun stage overall. There's a couple of tricks you can do to go faster, but overall, you just want to. Ideally, you want to have DD in front for the entirety of the stage because Diddy is faster than Dixie, but you can have Dixie as a safety if you want. But usually you want to do this level with Diddy in front, since it's just Diddy is just much faster, both in just overall movement. But sometimes having Dixie in front for some jumps that you're less comfortable with, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
It's a pretty suspenseful stage to begin with, and not knowing exactly what's going on with ZeldaTima is even worse.
Well, I like to say that when I do runs, I have my split for World 5. I call it instant death, because World 5 is very well known for just there's a lot of pits in almost every single stages, and also it's very easy to die in every single levels of World 5. Well, maybe except Haunted Hall, but there's still a lot of pits as well, and Haunted Halls, which is just very easy to just instantly it can be you can be susceptible to die as well in Haunted Halls. So, but in my opinion, World 5 is also it's arguably the best world to speedrun in my opinion.
With the latency issues, every time Tupac comes on screen, it's like a jump scare.
Yeah. The real name of yeah. Actually, the enemy is called a Cackle, but I mean, look at this. Look at this guy. It's literally Tupac with the dope bandana as well.
File your taxes free, your way. Do it yourself, free.
Yeah, there's some ads. Sorry, guys.
Oh yes, a small difference that is worth pointing out. So just over the third bonus of the stage, where there's a slight difference between the Japanese and the US version of the game, is that there's one less beat on the Japanese version, and this makes the stage just very slightly faster. You save about 0.1 to 0.2 seconds over the US version of the game. But apparently there's some people that say that this B is impossible to jump from. It's already pretty hard on jumping over the 2 Bs on the U version. Apparently the people are saying that that on the Japanese version it's even worse. But I'm skeptical about that.
Well, you're a pretty confident runner, Madmark. I would believe that you can do it.
Those were the words from Gil, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Oh no, that's unfortunate. Just died before the pillars. This is not what you want to see.
Have a good night, Manow Fox.
Rolling out. Alright. So Gusty Glade, so this level the wind mechanic is the wind mechanic, so it's not RNG, it's dependent on your position, and you just timed yourself with the wind cycle to go much faster in the stage. And oh goodness, okay. Oof. Those pillars that ZeldaTima just passed, it's very easy to have your inputs hidden for some reason, because for whatever reason the corners of the pillars are really jank. It's very easy to just get your inputs hidden for whatever reason. It's pretty frustrating when that happens. I had it happen a few times. You try to roll and you immediately lose your jump for whatever stupid reason and you die. It's pretty frustrating when that happens. But regardless, this is still a very good stage, and of course there's the Gusty wrong warp in this stage, and as I mentioned, it saves only 5 seconds, but the setup is just so convoluted because for that wrong work, you have to bring over a beetle all the way to the bonus barrel just before the halfway point, and you have to make it across the pillars. You have to make it. You have to do a very specific setup to make it across the cliff just before the bonus. And then you have to do a slope clash. You have to do a clash on the slope to be able to get visible object and make it work. But it's just really difficult. And it's very easy to be you're just slightly off, or you're just on the pillars, and it's just it's an absolute mess to be able to get it. Even if it saves 5 seconds, it's not something I recommend newer runners to pick up because it's really freaking hard. Unless you're SBD, but yeah.
Unfortunately, like Catherine, there's only one Catherine and there's only one SPD.
So now Parachute Panic. And ZeldaTima is actually gonna take the purple parrots. There's something I like to say about PCP is that the intended way to beat this level at some parts is even harder than doing the speedrun strat, especially toward the end of PCP. Honestly, when you do the headbonk strat at the end of PCP to go to the final section as Diddy, if you fail that headbutt and you don't get enough invisibility frames to go through the bees to be able to have a smooth final section, you have to get back on the bird. And some of the hitboxes of the bees, because the bees are not static, as you can see, they actually oscillate, and this actually changes the hitbox as well. So their hitboxes are always oscillating; they're not stuck in place, and this actually makes it the final section doing the intended way is actually harder than the speedrun strat, where you just fall through the final section. Thankfully, ZeldaTima did not take damage, and will be able to be this true PCP. Very nice. Well, this level, done optimally is it's all about muscle memory. You have the layout memorized, and you just fall down through the entirety of the stage. Also, what's up, Crypton? Nice run, by the way, gamer. Can I get some Diddy Boom in the chat, gamers? Let's encourage ZeldaTima, please. So now Webwoods, as I said, Webwoods is a very difficult stage, and as I said at the beginning of earlier on, this level is it's full of pits, so it's very easy to just instantly die. It's also rather notorious for starting infinites as well, so there's a lot of dead runs and dead monkeys down there, so ZeldaTima is pretty much gonna take it very safely throughout the entirety of the stage. And sometimes it's not, and in the races, it's not a bad idea, to be honest, to go really safe on this stage, because as I said, very easy to you die once and then it starts a chain of many consecutive deaths, and you're pretty much stuck in an infinite. It's really annoying when that happens.
I bet a very entrepreneurial Kong could go in those pits and farm all the shoes to sell from all the spiders dying down there.
That'd be interesting, quote unquote. And also one thing about Squitter is the main mechanic of Squitter in this stage for Webwoods, but well, Squitter in general, but mostly for Webwoods, the main mechanic is called the instant platform. So when you press L and R at the same time, you're able to make an instant platform with Squitter. But there's one thing you need to keep in mind is that there's a small cooldown between when you do instant platforms, so you cannot spam instant platforms. You had to wait a little bit to be able to do another one again, and it's very easy to just too jittery. It's rather easy also to get rather nervous or you're jittery during Webwoods, especially if you're actually on the good pace going into World 5. Very easy to just go a bit too fast and you fail. You're actually too early. You're actually way too early, and unfortunately, you just fall to your death, and it can be very frustrating too. Here, normally, there's also another trick that you do here in the stage, especially in the final section. You can do some animal body damage boost. So here, you're on one of the red bees. You would actually do a damage boost. Oh, and unfortunately, ZeldaTima died. That's unfortunate. Right at the final section of the stage. That's unfortunate. But as I was saying, you can do some animal damage boost, and here in the final section of Webwoods, you would do a damage boost on one of the red bees, and you're actually able to get another jump for a small frame window, and this allows you to go much faster in that section. But yeah, as you just saw, Webwoods does not take prisoners.
I think it's a small frame window, but it's bufferable, right?
I think, if I remember, yes, you can buffer it. I think, yes, you can buffer it. And I think with all animal bodies, well, except Vanguard, you can do it. But I think Radley has the biggest frame window to be able to do it, if I remember correctly. I don't remember the exact frame window, however. I'd say it's about a 6 to 8 frame window, something like that. It's not that big of a frame window to do a double jump. Well, to do an animal damage boost, and then you do the jump afterwards. And if you're doing this run if you're actually running 102%, this stage is even harder because there's a trick called what was the trick again? Oh yes, fast cannonballs. So on the first bonus of the stage, you're supposed to take a slow cannonball across, but you're actually able to take the first fast cannonball that the cannon shoots out, and you're actually able to follow it, but you have to time your webs it's very tight. It's some platforms one after the other, and you need to keep the fast cannonball on screen while crossing that gap to get to the first bonus. And it's very easy to just barely miss time on your instant platforms and you die. But ZeldaTima should be through Webwoods. Alright, ZeldaTima is through Webwoods, nice. Had a few issues, but Webwoods, as I said, does not take prisoners. And now a Crow 2, so as I said earlier, it's another instance of RNG. It depends on if the barrel spawns left or right. And unfortunately dies. This is not what you want to see, gamers. That's unfortunate. So as I said, ideally you want to have right spawn or left or mid spawns on the boss. Left spawn is less desirable, and There's one thing I've seen a couple of times during the beginning of this tourney, since the beginning of round 1. If you actually get Crow on the opposite side than what you would normally do, it's unironically pretty disorienting because you're so used to have Crow 2 actually mostly on the right side of the screen pretty much every single phases, but if you get Crow on the left side, most people are just not used to see Crow on the left side, so it can be very disorienting. You're just not used at all to have Crow on the left side, so you need to be aware of that. Ooh, and Crow was actually on the left side. Huh, interesting. But the ZeldaTima is through World 5. And now on the World 6. So, as I said earlier, there's a trick called the Arctic Zip that you can do here. So ZeldaTima, I don't think he's gonna go for it. But, Engard has a really has not the best properties in DKC2. Even while Engard is lunging DKC2, unfortunately you can still take damage. So you need to be very careful to have good movement overall. And you're also if you take your corners very you take some very tight corners, you're also able to despawn of a couple of you're also able to despawn a couple of buffer as well. So, overall, and if you're doing normal Arctic Abyss, it's all about making sure you have consistent timing on your lunges to make sure you don't take unnecessary damage for no reason. It's very easy to take unnecessary damage as the fish here in the stage.
Yeah,
So
Arctic is actually one of my scariest levels. I just always get hit.
Yeah, because the Engard's properties are pretty jank. Unfortunately, ZeldaTima dies because there's actually a buffer that actually exploded, and the needles, should I say the needles that comes out of the buffer explosion, they actually stay on screen for a very long time. Even if they get off screen, they actually stay active for quite a bit longer than you would expect. So you need to be careful to if you're actually starting a lunge, you can actually get hit by the still active buffer needles after the buffer explodes. And unfortunately dies at the end of Arctic Abyss. That's unfortunate. This is why I really hate the fish sometimes in DKC2 because of Arctic Abyss, because of really jank properties. Engard in DKC3 is an absolute powerhouse. In the DKC3, whenever you're lunging with Engard, the cool thing is that Engard pretty much destroys every single enemies. In DKC3, the only thing that can hurt Engard while Engard is lunging in DKC3 are the Lurchins when they are fully closed. Other than that, DKC3 Engard just destroys everything.
Interesting tactic going into the bonus here.
Yeah, because you actually skip the bonus. Just puts you right beside the angle target. Fortunately, like, we're gonna have an actual rap. Hey, Diddy Boom in the chat, please. So it's worth mentioning that why did the unfortunately dies, and I think ZeldaTima died to the beetle in Windy Well. Oh, that's unfortunate. But back to Arctic Abyss. There's a trick at the end when the water lowers down. If you don't let the water lower down enough, you can actually trigger the fanfare, because the game, while you're underwater, it still considers you quote unquote airborne. And so if you don't let the water lower down enough, and you actually become grounded, quote unquote, well, you will trigger the fanfare. So there's a trick you do at the end, is that you let the water lower down just enough, you get on the platform just before the end goal target, and you actually crouch, you slide down the platform while staying crouched, and now the game will actually considers you're on the ground, you are actually ground on the level of the ground, and so you can actually hit the end goal target without actually triggering a fanfare, because the game will just consider you grounded at the same level of the angle target. Because I also believe that the game, while you're underwater, will actually try to take in consideration the highest point that you are, and so yeah, you will still trigger the fanfare at that point. So here, Windy Well. So main mechanics, the wind up, pushing you up through the stage. You don't want to be too much as Dixie in the stage, because I believe Dixie has a bigger hitbox than Diddy for some reason, I believe, in the air. I'm not sure. Any Windy Well enjoyers could actually tell me if that's true or not. And actually did not go for the damage boost at after the halfway point. Decided to go the long way around the natural route. Mind you, which loses about 5 to 6 seconds, not going for that damage boost. But interestingly enough, that damage boost strat that you would normally do after the halfway point, you can only do that on any versions on 1.1 and specifically Japanese 1.0. If you attempt to do that damage boost strat after the halfway point on U 1.0, you would actually get the damage boost, but your camera would pretty much the camera does not scroll up, and you pretty much soft lock. Your camera will just stay stuck in place, and you're not even able to proceed as normal. So you have to take a death on the cutlass that is still low on the platform. But unfortunately, ZeldaTima just died at the end of Windy. As I say that, of course, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I like this stage, but I wouldn't call myself a Windy Well enjoyer.
There's a bunch of small optimizations you can do as well, as trying to get the wind cycle going as early as possible to be able to go just a little bit faster. Usually you want to jump in the wind cycles. You want to jump in the when the wind triggers that actually make the upward winds actually start to push you up. So ideally you want to try to jump into the triggers to just save a little bit amount of time to optimize the level overall.
There's also somewhat of a fast fall strat, where every time you duck around a bee you can do, and it saves you some frames. I think about a donkey unit.
That's the one. I think that's the one at the beginning of the stage, if you're referring to. Yeah, saves a little bit of time. So now Castle Crush. So let's see what ZeldaTima does here.
Yeah, we got some battle music for this stage.
Decide to transform into Randy, so ZeldaTima will not go with the regular, with the wrong warp, and not even with the gold summon.
I think this is going to be the first classic Castle Crush we see for the tournament.
We're actually gonna have a Castle Crush warpless. But since we have Rambi on screen, heck Rambi, by the way.
Yeah, that.
So in Warpless, this level is about a 4.5 It's a 4.5 minute auto scroller. So this is a very long stage. So
Get
yeah.
comfy, folks.
Get comfy, everyone. So this is gonna be quite a ride. But if you would be in Warpless, there are two things that you can do to make this stage go a little bit faster. On version 1.1, well, as a matter, I like to do just a small tangent here since we're gonna have a Warpless Castle Crush. Speaking of Warpless, you can actually run Warpless just fine on version 1.1 or version 1.0, but like the optimal version, like for the fastest time right now, is actually version 1.0. Is because in Castle Crush there's a trick in the version that is exclusive to version 1.0, which is the infinite team throw trick, which is normally frame perfect. Is that you have to actually, when you throw your conk partner upward and your conk partner comes back to you, you have a 1 frame window to be able to do a jump again. You're able to do it infinitely. But I believe it was a Japanese community that found what was the thing? It was there's some sort of in-game timer, like an invisible timer that switches on and off every 9 minutes, and that's actually this creates some sort of underflow. And whenever this state is quote unquote on, well, it actually makes some sort of auto jump. So it pretty much removes the frame perfect restriction on the infinite team throw trick. But this strat is pretty hard because just because you have access to a frame perfect trick for free doesn't mean that method is any easier. Oh no, quite on the contrary, that 1.0 Warpless method is extremely brutal. And it was actually Tonkatsu that actually was really the first runner that actually did it in runs. Actually held the Warpless record for a while for actually going with it. But and then of course Void actually came in and got back the Warpless record afterwards. But the 1.0 infinite team throw method in Castle Crush is extremely brutal. I do not suggest anyone going for that if you're unless you really want to go for top time in Warpless. And compared to what you do on 1.1, on 1.1 what you do is that you try to do some T throws to go a little bit faster just before the halfway point, and you actually take an intentional bet and you respawn at the halfway point, which will make the Crusher respawn near the halfway point, because there's just a section just before the halfway point that actually slows down the Crusher significantly. It really slows down to a crawl, and so by doing those team throws, going to the halfway barrel, actually taking the intentional bet just resets the Crusher at the halfway point, and it saves just 10 to 15 seconds compared to the 1.0 infinite team throw Castle Crush method, which saves about a minute and a half over doing around a minute and 15 seconds over just doing the stage compared to the Warpless 1.1 strat. It's yeah. But as you just saw, Castle Crush is a very long auto scroller, so we're through. So that was quite a convoluted explanation I did for Castle Crush Warpless, but I find it's kind of sometimes it's worth it to bring it up because some people don't even know that this what the Warpless 1.0 strat is.
Probably one of the most cursed tricks in speedrunning.
True. I mean, there's also Bleed Skip in DKC3, but that's another story entirely. Bleed Skip is freaking cursed in DKC3. That I will die on that hill. That trick is so cursed.
Frame perfect start select on an audio cue.
Yeah. Only possible in the Japanese version, by the way. So now ZeldaTima is now on the clappers. Will ZeldaTima actually go for the invincibility barrel? I'm curious. Or not. So actually, ZeldaTima forgoes the invincibility barrel, and I think we'll instead do a backup. I hope ZeldaTima does the backup here. Yes, ZeldaTima does the backup. So what happens is that instead, if you don't feel confident, if you just don't go for the invincibility barrel, or you just don't feel confident that you have enough time, you can do that barrel backup. Is that you simply throw the barrel upward, you let the barrel kill the enemies. So it's actually a very reliable and safe backup to go for if you don't think you have enough time on your invincibility timer at the end of clappers. Normally you would just use the invincibility. Try to maximize the time you have on the invincibility barrel to roll through every single enemies at the end of clappers to go really fast, but that barrel backup is there if you need it. It is very reliable and very easy. So now we are on CLC. There's one thing I like to say about CLC is that I like to do CLC as a warm-up, because for vertical rope climbing, this stage is, I always like to do that as a warm-up. Arguably one of the best stages to warm up on, especially with rope climbing. And actually, ZeldaTima will not go for the wrong warp. Instead, we're gonna have a CLC warpless.
I still do CLC warpless.
But CLC is actually a great stage to practice rope climbing, to be honest. True, Crypton. I really like doing CLC warpless. But on warpless, CLC is very demanding, because you need to keep a rhythm, even in any percent. If you're just going to want, like, really, you don't do a big portion, you still want to optimize your rope climb as much as possible. And CLC is arguably the best stage to actually get very good at vertical rope climbing. But in warpless, it's this stage is very demanding, because you do a lot of vertical rope climbing, and it can be very hard on your hands, because of how you want to go fast, because you want to climb fast. Yeah, that's rude, Ropemeal, since you also get the invisible barrel. Why exactly the spot where ZeldaTima is? There's the invisible wall. Yep, takes the invincibility barrel and will try to climb. Will abuse the invincibility barrel. This is actually what you do in warpless as well, because there's like a B maze section, quote unquote B base section, if I can say that, if I can put it that way. And you want to try to maximize normally the time you have with the invincibility barrel to get through that section, because going with that section, as you can see on the ZeldaTima screen, without it is really annoying. So you can usually you just go on the ground, you actually roll to the cutlass, because yes, there's actually a cutlass on the ground there, and you just resume climbing through that section. And you actually want to try to have invincibility also for the cannons, because there are two cannons also shooting the cannonballs down on you. So ideally having as much invincibility timer left for that section is also rather important. And if you were actually on 1.0 here, you would do a small trick. You would actually do a small trick. Then you would be actually you have to position yourself with your Kongs like with their backs on the wall. You barely tap left and select. You'll be able to clip through wall. You're able to clip through walls in version 1.0. but on 1.1 you cannot do that. But on 1.0 you need to be careful, because if you do wall clipping, you can actually get stuck. One, get stuck, or two, you can actually fall down to the stage. You can actually die in some specific stages. I'm looking at you, PCP 1.0. Yeah, if it happens, it really sucks. So now Toxic Tower. So let's see how this goes. You have a couple of routes you can do in this, actually, in the CLC. You can go for like an intermediate route, as I like the short hop route, which actually was either, I think that's Juice that came up with that route, which instead of doing that true double jump strike you would do on the right, instead you stay on the left, you do short hop double jumps instead with the snake, which are rather hard. It's not an easy mechanic to learn with the snake. It's a rather precise timing to be able to get much more height than usual with Bradley's jumps, and you actually go much faster than you would without doing them. And I like to say that also a Toxic Tower, I like to call this, as I said, I think I said it earlier, but I like to call Toxic Tower Choke City, because, oh goodness, it's very easy, especially if you're on a good pace, very easy to get nervous, to get, you start getting jittery, and it's very easy to just mess up your inputs, and then this can pretty much lead to making a single mistake, and this can outright kill your run, which is really unfortunate. This is not, if it happens, this is not what you want to see. It's this can pretty much put you on tilt as well. But ZeldaTima gets through, not bad. Seems to have a bit of issue on the squitter section. Usually that final section with squitter is very easy. You just want to try to get up to the end goal target in 3 webs optimally, but sometimes you just barely mistime your web and you have to do an up in forehead or more.
I think that was an up in question mark.
Yeah, indeed. And of course we got the fake out here, and we're proceeding to the last world, to the world 7. ZeldaTima actually, what you want to do here on the first, the jump is natural route, but what the jump is that you actually have to jump from a precise spot, that you actually have a visual cue. You jump from the plank, you barely squeeze under the cloak, and just over the bramble there's a small space you can actually jump through, but it's very easy to take damage there. And if you there's some people that actually do not take the Kong barrel at the beginning, and they do it as a solo Kong, and if you fail you die. So but if you're in 102 specifically, you really don't want to do it, you really don't want to take damage, because you actually need 2 Kongs for the bonus, the one only bonus of this stage. But yeah, can be very annoying, because the jump you just barely save half a second, but if you fail you just you lose everything. Can be pretty annoying. And one thing about Screecher Sprint, but the Brambles have very deceptive hitboxes, and more often than not, especially in the Screecher Sprint, it's very easy to oh, and unfortunately died on the B ring. That's unfortunate. That's not what you want to see. But as I was saying, the hitbox is pretty deceptive. There are some spots where the hitboxes they actually sticks out compared to the visuals, and so it's very easy to unsuspectingly take damage while you just how the hell did I take like you just how the hell did I take damage there? It just doesn't even match the visual at all. But that's because the hitboxes they actually sticks out more than the visual, and so it's very easy to just barely miss position. You actually take damage, and or you can actually die. But that pretty much applies to every single Rebel hitbox in the game, and also in Rumble Blast.
I didn't even know there was a one-up balloon over there.
An invisible one-up balloon. Hell yeah. Two notable spots where the hitboxes are really jank. They're really weird. It's just the just before the final B section, just after the B ring and just before the final B maze, one of the corners there it really sticks out. So you need to be careful when you take that corner, and also the vertical shaft as well. Oh goodness, that spot is pretty notorious for actually being run killer if you're not careful. Does not go for a race kip.
I think they're worried about taking damage, or they don't know that it's there.
Yeah, because there's one thing about you're able to skip the race trade. You're able to skip the countdown to the race by just barely flying over Screech, because you're able to barely fly over the race trigger, and that saves about a second and a half. But if you're able to just fly perfectly without actually stopping over Screech, which saves about an additional donkey unit 2.5 seconds, so you can save total 2 seconds in total by going for a race skip with no turn back. But it's very easy to take damage because that Vine hitboxes, really wacky Vine hitboxes. So but if you take damage, it pretty much guarantees going over the trigger and getting race skip, no problem. But you're down a Kong, so in that case, it's very easy to just barely miss position and then take damage afterwards. So you just need to be careful about it.
We got the race music in the race stage.
Hey. Nice. And we got a Diddy guitar. We got a guitar solo. So let's have some Dixie Cool in the chat, gamers. And I also want to say props for ZeldaTima for actually finishing.
Yeah, this game takes a lot of grit, doesn't it?
True. Like it's one of those things that sometimes you just really on tilt and you just want to reset. But I say one of the hardest things is actually finishing a run. It's even if it goes really badly. I'd say that's one thing that's really hard to do. But at least you finish that run, so at least I finished a run. So at least there's that. Even if that run really went poorly.
Yeah, I know that after my race with Blue, I felt physically exhausted.
Yeah, it takes so much. I just want to shut off my console. I just want to reset right away. But finishing a run sometimes is even harder. It's really harder than instead of losing a run.
I was also so nervous. I had a towel, and in between stages, I was just wiping my hands.
Yeah, speedrunning can be stressful.
That being said, ZeldaTima is on track to beat my time against Blue, so yeah.
ZeldaTima does not go for the cuff with the Kool-Aid monkeys, as I like to call them. Not go for blue DD. But that actually loses time. It also has Dixie in front, so it's just pretty much guarantees that you won't get hit by the red smokes. Usually, when you want to stay as DD in front for the entirety of the fight, but if you're not confident over jumping over the smokes with only DD, then it's better to just jump over with Dixie. There's absolutely no problem with that. Just make sure to not get hit and not lose further much more time than you would.
And that's time.
And time. ZeldaTima finishes with a 1:45.46. Nice run. I'm glad that ZeldaTima decided to keep going all the way.
You kind of gotta. It's a video game. It's meant to be played, you know.
True.
I'd say they rolled pretty deep.
Rolling deep.
So, with that race being finished, it looks like our next race is in a little under an hour at 9 p.m. EST against Panda versus Antimony. And Panda is a known Gusty Glade Wrong Warp player. Very interesting. Might see that tonight.
Oh, Panda actually goes for Gusty Wrong Warp. Ooh, that's gonna be interesting to watch. Antimony is wasn't it Sephi?
The race slot calendar says Antimony.
Antimony? Okay.
I'm sorry, it's Antinomy.
Alright, but next race is gonna be at 9 p.m. Eastern, gamers, so we better see y'all there. And also, I think this is going to be one of the final races for round 1, unless there's a couple more races for round 1 that is still left, but I think we almost pretty much finished the round 1 races.
Yeah, and with that, I think there's not much to be said until we come back. So, Mad Mark, what do we usually say in this instance?
There's only one thing left to say when ending a DKC stream, and that's rolling out.
Rolling out, gamers.